welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Ritchie. We have a lot on the agenda today, breaking down news of the day, none other than the incomparable Senator Nina Turner. Always fascinated to have brilliance on the show. Top story of the day. Remember, we brought you a story about a United States congressman, black male, punched in the face by a Trump supporter. Now we're bringing you the response of Trump supporters. If you remember, put it up for a mask. In an update within hours of a man being arrested for punching Representative Maxwell Frost at the Sundance Film Festival, MAGA-aligned critics were already accusing Frost of fabricating the incident. Just to remind everybody, this happened in front of many people. You have a police report. You have police officers investigating and effecting arrests. Let's recap. So Frost, the congressman, who is Afro-Cuban descent and is the first generation Z member of the US Congress, is a critic of Trump, obviously. He's a critic of MAGA ideology. According to Frost and officials at the festival, the alleged assault involved a white male telling the congressman that Trump is going to deport him. The suspect in Frost's case allegedly proclaimed pride in being white while in the restroom before attacking the congressman as he exited. If you pay attention to the logic, if we can call it that, of the perpetrator, he's telling you what immigration reform really is about as it relates to Trump and Trump supporters. He's telling you it is about racism. He's telling you it is about his whiteness. He's telling you it has nothing to do with the political posturing that they proclaim from their offices and the chamber. There's more. Christian Joel, 28 years of age, was arrested at the scene. That's according to court records. He was hit with charges of aggravated burglary because he wasn't supposed to be there, assaulting an elected official, and assault. He had entered the private property without permission. That's according to Variety. Furthermore, the report notes that Young not only attacked Frost, but also a woman attending the event. The investigation into Frost's alleged assault is ongoing, and the congressman stands by his account of the incident. There is no contrary account on record. Despite eyewitnesses, despite their accounts, and the arrest, right-wing social media figures quickly cast doubt on Frost and his account of what happened, invoking conspiracy theories, comparison to past high-profile hoaxes. This is what you're dealing with in MAGA land. Believe me, I know. This person did something very special and unique. Quote, Zim says, look how the rotten GOP has become. So Matt Van Swole says, what's the man's name? Jesse Smollett. And then another one said, you're a congressman in Florida. What on earth are you doing in Utah? Another person chimed in, yeah, never happened and we don't care. Jane says, why were you at the Sundance Festival? Is that what we pay you for? Is that a perk for the House of Representatives? Question mark. And another added, quote, ask yourself, how many people at the Sundance Film Festival are going to clock a U.S. congressman on the kisser in broad daylight in front of everyone? Give me a break. If you're going to debut a sequel at Sundance, Congressman, I would avoid it being Jesse Smollett 2.0. You can't even respond to that madness. So that's why we're doing it, because I hope our dear brother is not responding to the silliness, right? And it's nonstop. It's excessive. They probably believe themselves. And ironically, it seems as if others do as well. But keep in mind, they voted for Trump. Okay. They believe Trump. I'll put it in full mass in case there are any doubts. The attack on Frost happened just prior to fellow Representative Omar's attack. Experts say this climate amplifies threats against Black lawmakers who are increasingly facing harassment, intimidation, and attacks in both public and private settings. What rhetoric? The rhetoric that Trump amplifies from the most powerful seat in political terms in the United States of America. It is also amplified by the fact he makes no statement to the contrary of these individuals. But if he does make a statement, it has now become in support of their action by trying to discredit whoever was victimized. And regardless if it is true or not, there's a belief that even if they get prosecuted, they have to face jail time, that Trump will simply pardon them. Well, he's done it before. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
You know, Doc, I sigh deeply so I don't have to cuss. Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does. You know, that famous line, Forrest Gump, the character in the movie. I mean, the man, what was his name? Christian Joel Young. He can say all the things that you laid out that he said. What he cannot do is put his hands on another person. And in particular, he put his hands on a Congress member. He can spew all of that hate, but the irony, Christian Joel Young.
Yeah.
You know, I want our viewers to understand the Christian part of that. And what would Jesus do? Certainly none of that. In fact, I just don't understand if these people, maybe they don't know, but we're going to break the news for them. Jesus is not white.
Right.
I mean, the physical body that Jesus came to earth in is not a white body.
Right.
So go back and read scripture. I read something like hair like wool and feet as brass, not white by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
So and your point about President Trump and how he stokes this kind of hatred, I think it is his superpower. And his followers are picking up on this stuff. Now they grown, they have responsibility for their own actions, but to have the president of the United States of America in the 21st century pour gasoline on this kind of hatred, I mean, it is really, really kind of stunning. And then that question that you read from one of the supporters asking him what he doing, he what is he doing in Utah? I don't know, Doc. I think that was a legitimate question, though.
I think the brother was off. I don't think he was
wonder
working.
what he was doing in Utah too, though. Seriously.
Right. Yeah, I just wouldn't be in Utah, period. And no offense to Utah. Okay.
No, all jokes aside, yeah, it was wrong, and they know it happened.
Yeah, and we'll keep you updated to see if there's a true penalty for the guy in the prosecution phase. All right. There's a story, there's an update to a story we brought to you about a man, older white male, fatally shoot an Uber driver because he thought that the guy was trying to hustle him out of a couple of dollars. It was insane. It was sad all the way around. He now has his fate. Let's go back to his reminder.
Yes, yeah, I know what you're after. You're after the help! Help! Help!
I know that's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for my producers. It's hard for you. It was harder for her. And she deserves us to tell the whole story. Jordan, put it up full mass. She was just driving to make extra money. 83-year-old William Brock will likely now die in prison because he shot an Uber driver to death because he said he thought they were actively working with a scam caller. I'm going to connect that in just a moment. Brock was convicted last month of murder, felonious assault, and kidnapping in connection with the death of 61-year-old Lolitha Tolan Hall in Ohio. He has been sentenced for her death to 21 years in prison. I'm going to give you a reminder of the case. So the tragic series of events that unfolded in March 2024 and led to Tolan Hall's death started with a call from a scammer, not related to her at all. During his trial, Brock, the killer, testified that he received a call from someone posing as an attorney and demanding $12,000 in cash to bail his grandson out of jail after alleging the young man hit a pregnant woman with his car. Brock was convinced the call was legitimate and almost fell for it until he asked for his grandson's full name and the make and model of the car. The scammer went mute on both points, and when Brock called him out, the call took an ugly turn. The caller allegedly threatened to kill Mr. Brock. We don't know this narrative outside of his testimony. He qualified it himself. The caller allegedly threatened to kill Mr. Brock and his family if the 83-year-old did not give a woman sitting in a car outside his home the cash amount they demanded. According to court documents cited by the New York Times, the same scammer used Uber to dispatch Tolan Hall to Brock's home to fetch a package. She has nothing to do with this. She's simply driving for Uber. According to the court documents cited by the New York Times, that scammer dispatched the Uber driver, but she was completely unaware of his contents or the scam call or any scam being done. When an unsuspecting Miss Tolan Hall arrived, Brock immediately pointed a gun at her, quote, "I was scared to death at the time. I was going to be killed," end quote. That's what he said in court during his testimony. Dash camera footage showed Brock point the firearm at Miss Tolan Hall as she backs away in fear. He asks her, who does she work for? And she tells him that she's employed by Uber. The Clark County Sheriff's Office said Tolan Hall, quote, made no threats, made no assaults toward Mr. Brock, made no demands other than to ask about the package she was sent to retrieve through the Uber app, end quote. Despite the fact that Ms. Tolan Hall was unarmed, despite the fact she was walking away, backing away in fear, Brock decided to still shoot her 6 times while taunting her as well. Now, here's a distinction. He didn't call 911 until after he killed her. You could call 911 and say, there's a reported scam. I got the scammer at the house, I believe. I need a cop over here now. You can sit at your home with your gun, just in case. But the police are on the way. But instead of doing that, and this is, I'm sure, what the jury concluded, you decided to commit murder. You actually decided to lie in wait and commit murder. So he called 911 afterward. When first responders arrived, They airlifted this woman to a hospital where she was pronounced dead. Brock was found guilty on every charge he faced. And good for the prosecutors for knowing exactly what to do in the prosecution. His attorney attempted to secure a new trial and an acquittal, but their motions were overruled. At his trial, prosecutors said that his fear did not justify his lethal actions. I'm going to say something about his alleged fear in a moment. Tolan Hall's family said the 61-year-old was a devoted churchgoer, enjoyed baking, and spending time with her family. Her son made a statement in court during Brock's sentencing, quote, "She, Lolita, my mom, was my safe space, was my safe place." Mario Hall said, according to WHL News, quote, "It has left a hole in my heart that cannot be filled. She doesn't get to grow old like William Brock," end quote. The scammers who called and attempted to extort Brock, they never were found. It was confirmed that it happened. As far as the context of conversation, we don't know. There was an attempt. Clark County prosecutor, let's put him up. He did his damn job. Clark County prosecutor Daniel Driscoll told the Springfield News-Sun, quote, "Both families have lost loved ones because of this. And there are no winners here. The really sad part about this is that we know that the scammers, the folks who started this, haven't been brought to justice. They could not track them. And hopefully one day the FBI will bring those folks and we'll be able to prosecute them right here in Clark County for what they did, because they would be charged with murder as well. Put up the picture of Mr. Brock. There are some who are creating a de facto defense for Mr. Brock because he's up in age and he was in fear for his life, according to those who defend him. He was in the middle of a very ironic and criminal situation. Why did they not cut him a break? Let me say this. They did cut him a break. Because if you wait on somebody to come to your house and you have a gun waiting on them and you shoot them when they arrive, that is premeditated murder. You get life. You don't get 21. You don't get 21 years. You get life. Some states, you get the gas chamber. Okay? So they cut him a break on that because he was in some kind of situation. Now, here's the determination of just being a decent human being. Let's say it's true. It wasn't, but let's say that for the sake of argument. Let's say somebody came to his house because he was part of a financial scam. You still committed murder because nobody threatened your life. There, that woman did not assault, threaten, or try to intimidate him. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
I mean, Doc, you laid it out. I mean, it's absolutely chilling to even see the still photograph and then the video itself as she cried out in horror, asking for help. I mean, you laid it out. Even if with all the exacerbating circumstances that was happening for Brock, Tolan Hall, you don't have a right to go out there and just start shooting people like that. You don't. And my heart just goes out to her family and, her son especially, but just to the family. I mean, that was harrowing. Yeah. And I can't even imagine what was going through her mind at the time, knowing that she might not make it out of this. And I totally agree with you, Doc. I do hope that the FBI someday, be it tomorrow, be it 2 years from now, even 10 years from now, find the people that started this scam.
Yep.
Just absolutely tragic and chilling in every single way. And as you said, big ups to the prosecutor. Absolutely did the right thing.
Yeah,
This is
he did.
chilling.
Yeah. And we will bring you updates if there's an update on the scammers and an arrest. All right. Okay, we got more information. So ICE agents who killed Alex Preddy, well, they're part of a paramilitary outfit. Put it up. Full man's. The federal agents involved in the death of a VA nurse who dedicated his life to saving life, Mr. Alex Preddy. They have now been identified. And we're learning more about the militarized operations that they are a part of. So they've been identified as agents Jesus Ochoa and Ramando Gutierrez. Ochoa, 43, is a Border Patrol agent who joined CPB in 2018. Gutierrez is 35, joined in 2014, and works for CBP's Office of Field Operations. He is assigned to a special response team, which conducts high-risk operations like those of police SWAT units. Records show both men are from South Texas. Unsurprising details came out about one of the agents. Ochoa's ex-wife, her name is Angelica, said that Ochoa, gotta hear this, always fantasized about becoming a Border Patrol agent, fantasized about becoming a Border Patrol agent. She divorced him in 2021 after he had grown increasingly obsessed with firearms. This is considered radicalization process. With her estimating that he owned about 25 rifles, pistols, and shotguns collectively at the time of their separation. Both men were assigned to Operation Metro Surge. That is the immigration enforcement dragnet targeting Minnesota. So with the videos coming out, it's clear federal agents are behaving like less like cops, more like paramilitary units, thugs that the U.S. sends abroad. We've called them de facto military on this show because of the tactics and also their style. That's an occupation. That is not policing. The tactics used by Special Response Teams, SRT, and the Border Patrol Technical Unit vastly differ from those of local police or the local sheriff. They use explosives. They use explosives to breach doors of homes. Team members are equipped with full tactical gear, military-style helmets, actual assault rifles, heavy-duty crowd control weapons like pepper balls, foam launchers, and flashbang grenades. They have deployed less lethal munitions and chemical dispersants with little to no warning. It's a violation of the Geneva Convention. There's more. Formed in 1984 to put down uprisings in immigration detention facilities. BORTAC, as it's called, is an offensive tactical team used for drug raids. Now, keep in mind, they were developed in 1984. So once again, it seems as if all of this is coming out of left field and this is an anomaly of law enforcement. No, these are tools that have been utilized prior, and either no one said anything or the people that said something weren't listened to. There's more. They used the team for drug raids initially. Then it was counterterrorism, human smuggling, counter narcotics operations on the northern and southern borders. at special events, including the Super Bowl, and at least historically, overseas operations carried out in tandem with the DEA. A wired review of more than 110 federal cases that mention Bortak at least once reveal that while regular Border Patrol agents are often referred to by their names, file affidavits, and testify in open court, Bortak agents are consistently kept anonymous. Most notably, in federal civil proceedings and declarations related to weeks of violent protests during summer of 2020. So where did Trump and his administration get the ridiculous precedent from that they can hide everybody? 1984. Because we didn't check it then. I'm talking about Democrats too. Similar to clandestine missions abroad, DHS agents don't even need warrants. So moreover, the teams are currently being deployed in situations that were previously completely restricted from their involvement. They couldn't take part of these operations. They have a domestic restriction, such as a routine warrant service. Per a set of SRT operations guidelines leaked to Uniform Ride in 2019. Quote, these teams are our equivalent of Special Operations Command, says a former CBP commissioner from 2014 through 2017. Quote, Bortak, in particular, is used to operating in the desert. They are not trained for urban policing. They're absolutely the wrong tool for the job. It's like using a chainsaw to mow your lawn. End quote. This person was the CBP commissioner for 3 years. There's more. ICE, just like the U.S. military, they have been leaving behind unsettling cards. Actual cards. In Colorado, Sun reported that ICE agents were suspected of leaving custom playing cards with the ace of spades in the cars of people they detained or they deported or for deportation proceedings, complete with the address of the ISIS field office in Aurora. During the Vietnam War, the ace of spades cards were left by some American soldiers on the body of dead Vietnamese fighters and also dead civilians. When the U.S. invaded Iraq, a deck of playing cards featuring the photographs of Saddam Hussein's key ministers and generals, it was distributed to American soldiers with Hussein as the ace of spades. In another development, Brady's cause of death has been officially ruled a homicide. It means simply another person caused to death. Okay, we already know that. Medical examiner officially has made this happen. Hennepin County determined that Brady's killing, January 24th, was a homicide caused by multiple gunshot wounds. According to the report, which was made public on the 2nd of February, Brady's wounds occurred when he was shot by law enforcement. Lastly, in the midst of all this chaos, ICE agents in an official ICE subreddit are complaining they're not getting paid enough money, among other grievances. Quote, been here for about 2 months, still waiting for my health insurance. Is anyone having that issue as well? I chose BCBS Basic. MSS told me they don't know how long it'll take, and I have a sick daughter with no insurance. Another quote, don't expect much. It's like $6,000 after taxes, and they put it in a regular paycheck, so you end up paying about $4,000 to $5,000 in taxes in one check. End quote. Another quote, man, Monday is 4 weeks since I started. I haven't been paid yet. End quote. This alleged agent here is concerned about something called qualified immunity, which we talk about often. Quote, I just learned We do not have qualified immunity for violating someone's Fourth Amendment rights. Our FOD gave us a directive that general suspicion was reason to detain forcefully, completely inaccurate. Human rights attorneys are contacting anyone who has been detained. That's correct, especially citizens. Can we be charged criminally for violating someone's constitutional rights? Local and state police here in New Jersey are extremely hostile. Any chance he meant President Trump will grant every one of us immunity. So I don't know if you got your answer yet, but the simple answer, sir, you can go to jail for it. There's a criminal statute for the violation of constitutional rights, and there's a civil statute. You got a civil statute, you have a criminal statute. The federal government can prosecute you under either one or both if they choose to, i.e. Victor Hill, former sheriff of Clayton County. Look it up. So yes, if you deprive an individual of their rights, the federal government, rightly or wrongly, based on what you have done and not done, can in fact enforce the criminal statute, which usually only carries or only warrants a civil statute. If they really want to get you, they will apply the criminal one. So, sir, the answer is yes. It's unfortunate that you don't know this. To the folks who are complaining about not getting paid, you worked for Donald damn Trump, and you already knew his history before he got there. Regardless of your political belief, the man bragged about not paying taxes, not paying bills, not paying people, not paying lawyers. Also, we talked about this 2 weeks ago in Indisputable. It's a scam. The $50,000 is a scam. Let me remind you of the scam again. The bonus is not the bonus. You get $10,000 for every year. You got to sign a 5-year contract. You get your $10,000 bonus if you have a record with no blemishes. So they encourage you to do things that will give you a blemish. If you do qualify for the $10,000, you get the $10,000. But if you leave your contract prior to those 5 years, you have to pay back every dime of your bonus, period. That's the contract. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
I'm so glad that this information is coming out about the paramilitary group, because it gives us more insight into the mentality of how these people are operating on the streets of America. Their little inside conversation would be hilarious if it wasn't so sad. Particularly, my attention was drawn to the one you read about not having health insurance. Join the club. In the United States of America, most Americans are either underinsured or uninsured. You got 63,000 people dying every single year, people putting insulin on credit cards. We don't have universal health care. But see, they in this inside group talking like they regular Americans, but meanwhile, they are treating other Americans like enemies of the state, shooting first and asking no questions. Now, what happened to written exams, psychological exams, and physicals? I suspect they're not going through any of that, especially the example that you gave us where the wife, is telling the story of how many weapons this guy had. He should not be on anybody's force.
Right.
So, in the immortal words of Minister Malcolm X, the chickens are coming home to roost. And these ICE agents are finding out very quickly that they have very little protection, if any. And then ultimately, there are statutes of limitations in states that don't run out of murder. I heard A.G. Ellison. So they may think that they're getting away with this now, but you could have state officials, even after President Trump is in office, who go after these ICE agents for what they are doing. Doc, at one point, I was kind of almost feeling like, they being sent out to do this before all these murders. And let us not forget Brother Kevin Porter, from Los Angeles, who was killed first, who very few people talk about. I know we've talked about him but I want to lay that out. And then it was Sister, Renee Nicole Good, and then Brother Alex Preddy. But it is something, it's cruel, it's sinister, it's bio. At a certain point, I'm thinking, would they have been sent out to do this kind of stuff? Now it's at the point that y'all enjoying this stuff. Because see, now you know what it is. Maybe when you first signed up, you didn't know. But now you know, and far too many of them, Doc, is enjoying this. I don't know if you saw the video, which seems to be a video with AI and stuff. So that's all I'm going to say, seems, of a Brooklyn police officer. I think it was Brooklyn. It was in somewhere in New York, in the state of New York. I saw that. But yeah, that brother said, don't bring it here. A police officer.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know if it was AI generated or not. I tried to find some background. I couldn't find enough background. But I would say this. Life imitates art.
That's it.
Art imitates life. So I'm not mad at it. Somebody needs to say it, even if it's from a prompt that a person said, I feel like this needs to be done right now. So I'm okay with it either way. All right, we'll bring you updates. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Hey, Cenk, you ready to make the switch?
Yeah, I guess.
I promise it's easy, universal, basic, and you get income.
Yeah, you keep saying that. But you sure I'm gonna have coverage?
Of course you will. You think I would have bad service? I'm Andrew Yang. Of course I have good service.
All right, let's try it. But I'm so bad at tech. So, wait. Should I do this thing of the hashtag business? Andrew, you're still on, right?
Yep.
Oh, I see it. No, wait, I don't see. Oh, yeah, I do see it. Here we go.
I actually did not realize that you'd be searching in real time, but I love it.
How much do people actually normally save?
Yeah, the average American is going to save between $500 and $1,000 a year on Noble.
Yeah, no. You know what I'm going to do, Andrew? Are you ready to become a Noble member? The 2 buttons are do it and go back. There's no going back. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Here we go, Noble Mobile.
Oh my gosh, I just called you, and are you now on Noble and not Verizon?
Why didn't you tell me it was gonna be super easy?
I know, man. Now you just stay away from your phone and watch the money roll in.
I can do that. Here you go, phone, yeah.
What the f? Cenk, you still there?
Andrew? Oh, well, at least I got Noble Mobile.
It was really just one take. The whole thing is wild.
It's in my shoes. It's in my shoes.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with breaking news with Brett Ehrlich. This is breaking news with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Cenk and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
People who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning, they seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We have a lot of comments. I'll read as many as I can. Thank you for joining the conversation. All right, Winter Scoop says, how could these things be staged when the perpetrators are Trump supporters? Yeah. So, thank you, DB Hawk 3. Says, MAGA questioning this incident. This is unreal. This is unreal. That's right. Yep, Tyler Hackner 9731, member for 40 months. Thank you for that. From Minnesota, thank you for all you do, and thank you for all you do. All right, we appreciate the support. And Snack Panther says, funny that MAGA never asked Trump why he's always grifting. Is that what we pay you for? That's a great.
That's good.
Somebody
Black
should.
Panther did that. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. Okay. Yeah, so the Preston _ the dragon. They have to find the scammer because they're ultimately responsible for the death too. That's correct. In the commission of a felony, someone died. That's murder. That is right. That is 100% correct. And that's the reason they will be prosecuted under that doctrine. Yeah. Miss Cardio Queen, she was backing away. What fear did he have? Liar. Yeah. And I'm glad the jury saw through that, and obviously it was presented properly by the prosecutors. And yeah, late bloomer _ mad grandma. I'm glad somebody's finally reporting on these two ICE agents, murder, and the history of the one. All right, I got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. Get the away from us. Is this your ranch? It's our ranch. Away from us. Navajo. All your Mexican $300,000 payouts from the government. Are you up for Trump? I'm an American princess. Honey, you don't murder you, bitch.
Put it up, full mask. We don't have all of the details. We are asking if somebody has more detail, please contact us at Indisputable. What seems to be happening is that Karen is harassing a family at a park bench. Why would someone do that? You don't know. I don't know. Only people with Karenicity would engage in such activity. Okay. Here's the thing, Senator. There's a commonality among these particular Karens that we cover. The people they are harassing typically are smiling, minding their own business and enjoying life. I think there's a correlation here. What say you?
Misery loves company.
You're right.
Got to be some kind of crazy to do this to people that they are lacking. You're right. The people they messing with are smiling, happy, enjoying life. And these folks who engage in this, whether it's a man or a woman, they seem not to be. I would love to have a psychologist study the brains of these people. I can't do it because I try not to enter the minds of mad people, but somebody needs to study these folks. But they're miserable.
Got to be strong if you go there. You can't get trapped. All right, can't come back. We should do that. We'll have. We had a therapist on to talk about this before. It's about time to have him come back. Things are different now. All right.
Yes.
We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Every day, the Young Turks delivers 2 hours of solid, fact-based, timely news and progressive commentary on all the day's most important stories. We keep our viewers informed while also providing perspective and insight on the news we cover, so you understand not only what's happening, but also what's happening behind the scenes, the stories behind the stories.
We play musical chairs and put these children in one awful detention facility to the next. That's what's happening at the border.
The things that got him banned, he's still spreading. So presumably, I think it's reasonable to say that if you allow him back on the website, he's going to do it again.
Any legal voter that we deem not willing to vote for my side shouldn't vote because it'll replace me that's supposed to vote for my side. That's not how voting works. That's not how democracy works.
And while many people following today's political news can get discouraged about the direction of the nation and the world, that's not us. At TYT, we're genuinely optimistic about the future, and with good reason. Today, wide majorities of Americans agree with our progressive stances on issues ranging from healthcare and education to climate, immigration, and wages. The rising generation of young people are also overwhelmingly progressive in their political beliefs and policy objectives, and they're increasingly flexing their muscle as voters and activists to demand change from our elected officials. The traditional mainstream media is mostly AWOL. They, along with the government and many other cherished institutions, have been captured by corporate interests. Audiences sense that they're not getting the whole story or even the truth from once trusted outlets, whether broadcasting cable TV news networks or national newspapers and magazines. The antidote is the Young Turks. Unlike mainstream corporate outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma, and we don't carry water for the Republican or Democratic parties. So watch us Monday to Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and join the thousands of progressives around the globe who tune in every day for TYT's unmatched, award-winning content and see what it's like to experience a news organization that only answers to you.
Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Okay, we got a lot of comments. We'll read as many as I can. Thank you, everyone. Deck says, just get on your broom and leave that family alone, Karen. That was good, Deck. I think this is our day. If you're going to act like a child, don't do it around the children. Yes. Millennial Falcon said, you know what happens when you mess with a bear with her cubs around? That's right. Mama bear come out. And Jessica Ray 500 says, they're unhappy and afraid of everything. They act like they are. Right? There's no fear in their eyes. Okay. All right. This is a tough story, but the victim is speaking out. R. Kelly's underage sex tape years ago. He went to trial for it. Okay. The person, the victim on that tape, is now speaking out for the first time. Put it up full mass. This happened in 2002. In 2002, I finished high school in 1999. This was 3 years after high school. I remember this being the headline in the country, the conversation at the barbershop, the conversation at the school, because R. Kelly was so famous. That was fame in 2002. And this was a shock because this was a child on a tape, according to the prosecution, not rumor. The victim in R. Kelly's 2002 sex tape, who testified as Jane Doe, has now come forward telling her story and reclaiming her name. This is Miss Roshana Landfair, the survivor who just released her memoir, quote, Who's Watching Shorty? Quote, I'm reclaiming my name because I don't want it to be a dirty word, end quote. She explains in the opening chapter, quote, and my body because I no longer want my image reduced to a blacked out face of an exploited child. How does she meet R. Kelly? According to the memoir, it chronicles the rise of the hip hop group For the Cause. This was in Chicago in the late 1990s. At just 12 years of age, the young Miss Landfair was far from a typical preteen, according to her. She was touring internationally and scoring top 10 hits in Europe. Her aunt, Stephanie Sparkle Edwards, was a rising R&B star with ties to R. Kelly. You will see this as a common theme. Landfair, who was 13 now, said at her aunt's behest, she asked R. Kelly to be her godfather one day during a session at Kelly's recording studio with the specific instruction of sitting in his lap. This is going to be tough to hear. But once again, this is her reclaiming her name by telling her story on her terms so that no one else can ever say they told her story. She's telling her own story, okay? Her aunt reported the abuse. So Sparkle would become the whistleblower, identifying the girl on the tape and reporting the abuse to the authorities. The physical tape was submitted anonymously to the Chicago Sun-Times. Sparkle's testimony became the foundation of the prosecution's case, but it created a rift in the family, and that rift actually remains today. Though Sparkle was seeking justice, the young child, Miss Landfair, her parents were protective of Kelly, viewing him as, quote, family, which created questionable family dynamics highlighted in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. Now let's fast forward to 2008. 2008, Landfair declined to testify, leading to the acquittal of Kelly. During that time, he kept her in complete control. Once again, an ongoing narrative. Quote, "That's one of my biggest regrets, not telling the truth in 2008, Lanfair said. Quote, but again, when I have been trained and groomed since I was age 13, I started believing the lies that I was telling. It was very foggy and unclear on what I really felt versus what was right or what was wrong. And even in moments where I despised Robert, I still lied for him." You know what's sad? Is that she has to justify any of it. She was a baby, a child, being manipulated by adults, and some of them inside of our own family. But because of the world we're in today, she has to explain her 13-year-old self and give context that truly needs none. She needs no context for her actions because she was being manipulated, controlled, coerced, and abused. In the book, Ms. Lanfair said that Kelly had been keeping her under his control, locking her away in his home, like literally locking her in his home, locking her on a bus, limiting the information she had about the case, limiting the information about public appearances. Quote, "Robert was so mad. His threats to me to keep me denying this ever happened often came in the form of physical and psychological abuse." Lanfair said, "Most days I was so paralyzed with fear that I couldn't allow myself to think of an answer Robert had told me to think." Brainwashing. Her family practically sided with R. Kelly, according to her. These are some disturbing details, okay? Rashana, nicknamed Sean by Kelly, saw her private life into the public eye during the 2002 court case. As the trial unfolded, her life was flipped upside down. After her parents accepted a $250,000 payment from Kelly, a move she describes as a calculated effort to buy their silence, she was removed from high school and moved into Kelly's Chicago Tracks recording studio, where she lived in near total isolation. Lanfair writes that her family, quote, "asked God to bless our mess rather than order our steps," ultimately investing in the lies as much as the predator himself. She recalls receiving a call from Kelly when he was found not guilty, admitting that at the time, she did not want him to go to prison. Quote, "During that time, I was operating out of cognitive dissonance," she explained. So where things may have not felt right or felt pure, I was trained and groomed to be loyal and protective of him, end quote. Her trauma was marked public in 2003, while she was 18, 2003, 18 years of age, dealing with the trauma of her abuse. The Dave Chappelle skit, and see, I had to analyze myself on this. That Dave Chappelle skit that initially we all found hilarious. I know I did. It's so easy and subtle to not remember that's a victim somewhere, even if he wasn't found guilty of it. That was a victim on that tape, even if you didn't know who it was. And thank you, sister, for reminding us of that. In 2003, while she was 18 years of age, with the trauma of her abuse, Dave Chappelle's "Piss on You" skit hit the air. She said, quote, "It was very depressing. Imagine your worst moments and secrets being lived through the public. That was traumatizing, humiliating, and very discouraging." It could have also been a catalyst to why it took her longer to come out publicly about everything that truly happened. Life gives you a reminder sometimes. Accept them. Grow. Don't coil back. I know I will. I will grow from it. She is rebuilding her life. So, quote, she says, "It was never going to be a good time to tell my story," Landfair shared with The Root. "It took a lot of prayer, therapy, commitment, and obedience to write the book. This was my official release for myself to change the false narratives that had been perpetrated in the media. Ultimately, I am the only one that is really qualified to speak on my experiences." That's right. She further explains that as a mother of a 5-year-old son, it was important to clear up the image the public created for her. Today, Ms. Landfair has successfully severed ties and rebuilt her life. She currently works at a school-based health center and has launched her nonprofit, Project Refine, a mentorship program for young women. "It's my passion to pour into people who have experienced similar difficulties," Ms. Landfair said. Quote, "I want to bring awareness so victims know they are not alone." And as you know, R. Kelly was eventually convicted later, 2 separate trial, 2021. He remains in prison today. Okay. Yeah. So I'm thankful to this champion of champions, to this hero, to this leader who decided to give us an opportunity at reflection, an opportunity at understanding, an opportunity at hearing directly from her. The courage that takes is just, you can't really measure it. So, dear sister, I send you every prayer and positive vibration possible to you and your son. Senator, thoughts?
Yeah, agreed, Doc. I mean, she could have stayed in the shadows, and she had every right to stay in the shadows if she wanted to. I mean, it is just really gut-wrenching. And you're right, the reminder about the David Chappelle skit, a lot of times we take these things very, very lightly without thinking at all. So I'm glad that she did that. It reminds me a little bit, even though these are not necessarily equal experiences by any stretch of the imagination. She was 12. She was held hostage, basically, by the wishes of her parents. I mean, she was betrayed. And as much, Doc, as I would, this was betrayal of the highest order. And I'm just wondering why her parents weren't brought up on charges as well, as far as I'm concerned. And just the whole scenario that she paints about the aunt telling her to ask R. Kelly to be her godfather. And then I think you read that she also said, sit on his lap. And then now the aunt is now the hero, the person that exposed it. Yeah. I mean, this is just all so confusing. She was betrayed by many, many adults in her life that should have loved her unconditionally. She was pimped out as well. And I know that's crass, but that's exactly what her parents did to her. So there's a part of me that wants to know why they are not serving time for what they did to their own daughter. But Monica Lewinsky, Doc, you may remember, again, not equal circumstances, but kind of similar the way Monica Lewinsky had to go underground. She was the one that was blamed. She was the vixen. Even though she was not 12, she still was very young. And she was being seduced and controlled by a very, very powerful man. And oftentimes in our society, we don't make room for that. So less known a child don't even make room for that. Adult women really don't get any mercy, but you can be manipulated. You can be led astray. You can be taken advantage of. You can have such adoration and trust for somebody because of their positioning that you can't think. Now that's as an adult. Imagine a child that many psychologists talk about the brain development of a child, that a certain type of development doesn't even happen until age 25. In some cultures, they don't think you're mature until you're 40.
Yep.
And for us not to have the requisite mercy, whether it happens to girls, and it happens to men and it happens to boys too, and we have even less mercy because we sexualize women, and men are sexualized, and boys, to always want it, to always want to be engaged in the physical act. And we especially don't leave room for their sexual development either. So, Doc, betrayal and cruelty, I too am proud of her and just wish her nothing but the best for her and her son and her son's kids into the future, and just thank her for just even turning her trauma into something beautiful for what
That's
type
right.
of work
And
that she's engaged in right now.
That's right. She turned it into a message, Mess with Age on it. And I encourage anyone who wants a book about overcoming to have a proxy for what that means when somebody has had extreme difficulties to overcome. Make sure you purchase a book. Something you just said, Senator, and I noticed during this story, the parents. I want to go back to the parents. This wasn't the first time I've heard that. I interviewed the parents. This was on my radio show of two. There were two young ladies in Atlanta that mother and father claimed that their child was being held hostage, and they went on TV. They contacted the mayor. They contacted our radio network, and it became such a big deal. TMZ reported on it. The parents, I think, either gave a statement or went on TMZ. One of the young ladies basically sent a video, self-made video to TMZ saying, listen, we're not kidnapped, etc. So I interviewed these parents, okay? They seemed extremely convinced that R. Kelly was keeping their daughter against her will, even though the public conversation and what she said publicly did not match. But I remember at a point in the interview, and I don't know if no one had posed a question to them prior, I said, how did your daughter meet R. Kelly? And the husband looked at the wife and she said, well, I introduced them. And then it became not intimate, but it was they were closer. The child was closer to R. Kelly than I thought it was appropriate, given the fact, and I posed the question to the mother, did you not already know about the previous allegations of inappropriate relationship with minors? And she said, we did. And I damn near ended the interview. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that. And it was visible to the husband, like he don't even want to say it because he already know that was a catalyst for what happened. And then you have here where it's even more extreme to where they're getting money and actively going against blood relatives for this guy and their own child. All right.
It's a sickness, Doc. Thank you for even doing it. It's a sickness. And hearing you talk also remind me of Aaliyah could have got caught up in that trap. You remember
of course,
that?
Yeah.
And yeah, wow. You know, for somebody to be so gifted in terms of his artistry and to be so cruel, you know, on the other side. I mean, we are all walking contradictions, maybe not as contradictory as that, because there's some extreme contradictions, and that is one of them. And some other folks have them, but my God.
And we know he was a victim himself, according to his story details. But,
sure.
But when we are adults, man, you don't get to victimize people. You get to break the curse. You get to break the chains. You get to do, you get to become your own savior. You get to become the human being that would have saved you. That's what you get to be.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick and stay.
Hey everyone, Mateo Scarapo here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only Black salesperson there. He's the only Black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Here's the inside scoop on diners in LA. You want good pastrami sandwich, you go to Factors. You want to see some people in the business, you go to Nate and Al's. You want the best variety? My secret spot's the Nosh. Now here's the inside scoop on politics and news. You go watch the Young Turks live every day at 6 o'clock Eastern.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. I'm going to read some comments. I think this is Appalachian Old School, says, I graduated in 2002, and this dominated my entire school year. There is even a snippet about it in our yearbook. It was such a big deal. So proud of Miss Landfair. This takes so much courage and resilience. Sadly, too many families are participants and complicit in the abuse of their children. I don't know how we change this about our society. By doing this, you bring light to it. What is light? Light is information. Light is wisdom. Light is truth. Light is knowledge. When you bring light to something, you do more than disinfect that area. You disinfect a lot of areas that you're not even connected to personally. So that's how you do it. All right. Thank you for that. B Brown 7436, she was a child and the adults in her family told her to lie because of money, power, influence, fame. Yeah. Wisdom Reborn 68 says, Rashana, thank you for sharing your story. What an intentional way of transmuting the trauma. Much respect. Mm-hmm. That's right. And Miss Cardio Queen, just so their daughter can get famous. See, and you know, the mother was, and the aunt was an up and coming R&B singer. So there was this industry connection with members of the family. She's exposing industry. I mean, by proxy of R. Kelly, but this wasn't just him. That's right. Obviously. All right. Well, Donald Trump, well, he wants to nationalize state elections. Let's go to it. We'll give you the background. Here it is.
And they vote illegally. And amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
Trump said they should do it at least in let's say 15 states that some of them I lost. Put it up full mass. He got his state list already ready. So these are the states we need to steal. I mean, we need to protect. Trump suggested Republicans seize control of elections on a podcast interview with Dan Bongino, okay? Who's back working as a media host after being the assistant deputy director of the FBI. They make this stuff up, man. All right, earlier this month, Trump tried to call for canceling the 2026 midterm elections. This might be the next big thing for him. Steve Bannon then called for using ICE agents in those same elections. Here's Steve on cue.
We're going to have ICE surround the polls come November. We're not going to sit here and allow you to steal the country again. And you can whine and cry and throw your toys out of the pram all you want, but we will never again allow an election to be stolen.
Who the hell is we, sir? You don't work at the White House anymore. Trump fired you. Trump 1 fired you. You had no win with Trump 2. So anyway, he says we are going to. There's another interview that he did many, many months ago where he said, well, Trump isn't going anywhere. We're going to make sure of that. Just a reminder of what went down this past week. So last week, FBI agents seized ballots and other voting records from the 2020 election from an election center in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia. We brought Fulton County Commissioner Marvin Arrington, who's also an attorney, on the show to talk about what happened. He gave us a significant insight that basically the government signed a frivolous, non-enforceable criminal warrant in order to effect the raid, even though there was an existing court motion for them to have access to the records. There's more. Where his allies, Trump allies, have for years pursued false claims about election fraud, etc. The New York Times reported on Monday that Mr. Trump has spoken on the phone to the FBI agents involved in the Fulton County raid, praising and thanking them. The Justice Department has sued about 24 states for refusing to turn over the private sealed, it is sealed, okay? Voter data is sealed by judicial order and statute, which includes personal information pertaining to individual social security numbers and driver's license numbers in a push to make sure states are maintaining compliance with the voting rolls according to the administration. Now, if we are keeping it 100, even though the presidential election is a national election, it is state controlled. It is a state controlled process. States control the process for their people. Now, when will a Republican with a backbone stand up and say, hey guys, I thought we stood for smaller government, less intrusion. Did we change it? Did I not get the memo? What Republican is going to be a damn Republican now? You don't get to be a Republican or a Democrat. These are just words. You're supposed to stand for a principle. And you don't stand for principles because they're convenient. You stand for them because you believe in them. And what is being shown now is that most of you Democrats and Republicans didn't believe in a damn thing. You believed in nothing. And so you tricked us. You signed a bunch of deals, said you believed in the values, took money from folk that told you to piss on the same folk that elected you, and you did. And here comes Trump, able to pull every single one of your cards. And you say nothing. This man took your party. He then took over the RNC. He has taken your moral high ground. If you had any. You can't talk about marriage with any kind of true authenticity anymore. Trump don't respect the institution of marriage. But the truth is, you all never did either, because you didn't respect the institution of the woman. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
Like every time I think we living in a multiverse, it turns out I don't know, maybe we are, but you know what? What happened to the rule of law? You know, I'm old enough to remember when they were just about rule of law, rule of law, rule of law. They don't even want to follow the Constitution. They're not only that Bannon interview there, but Bannon and others, you know, they got this little cute tagline that they're using to try to see if they can get a third term for President Donald J. Trump. And the tagline is rewrite the rules. I mean, they all out in the open. I think the blessing to this tragedy is that President Donald J. Trump and his folks are out in the open. They letting us know they are leaving nothing to the imagination about what they are attempting to do. And when you talk about voter fraud, there is no evidence of rampant voter fraud. There was a poll done, I want to say, I forget who did the poll, so I don't want to give it the wrong, but that you have a greater chance to being struck by lightning than somebody sitting up there walking into the polling place impersonating somebody. To what end? It's not like robbing a bank where that at the end you could walk away with money. What are you walking away with? They are creating problems where there are none. They're spinning and ginning people up in ways that they should not be, all for their ultimate goal. You talk about stealing elections, they are the ones that want to steal an election. And now when you had the pure unadulterated gall to say you're going to rewrite the rules of the Constitution, what happened to separation, the federalism that we have in the Constitution, the 10th Amendment to the United States of America? Now y'all want to walk in there and take over states. And Doc, this quote right here from Benjamin Franklin, he said this, he said, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Now that's probably more appropriate to what we see going on with ICE. But I'm just gonna throw that out there right now on this too, because our liberty is attached to people's ability to be able to control their destiny through the ballot box. And that's states, as much as we want to fight against those states from time to time, and we do, Black people sure know a whole lot about states' rights and what it can do to you. I just to see these folks flip the script like this for their own means is just disgraceful.
Yeah.
But they can't be shamed, Doc. They can't be shamed. Yeah. The Congress, the separation of powers, the three co-equal branches of government, two branches are failing. And that is the Congress and the judiciary. Now, we got some judges doing what they need to do, but overall, Doc, the Congress and the judiciary. And so the people gonna have to step in on this one.
Yeah, and that's why I teach my political poli-sci students that you actually have four co-equal branches. Mm-hmm. And the fourth co-equal branch are we the people.
Yep, amen.
All right, we'll bring you updates on this. Okay, so there's extreme racism happening all across the nation. It's always been racism. I want to bring your attention to a Hispanic business owners in Massachusetts. They got this letter. Let's put it up. Hispanic business owners receive a racist threatening letter. This is in Massachusetts. This was put on their front door during their first week in town. Front door. Co-owners Zulimar and Gilberto signed the lease in November, moving their 20-year-old auto shop from Amherst to Belchertown. These are established career entrepreneurs. So Zulimar was born in Puerto Rico and Gilberto in Dominican Republic, but they've spent almost their entire lives in Western Massachusetts until this weekend. They've never experienced discrimination like this. So I'm going to read a part of the letter. It says, quote, "We know you recently moved in our town. You Puerto Ricans are ugly, ghetto trash. You're parasites dependent on the white man and white society. You do not belong here. We know you live in Springfield and Holyoke. Go back to your ghetto. You people rank at the bottom of society, have high crime rates, high welfare rates, and turn your cities into third world sewers. You know what you are, subhuman trash animals. Leave our town. We will be visiting soon as your friendly neighbor or customer. Sincerely, your white superiors." Is being actively investigated by the Belchertown police. There's a response on record from the victims, their reaction, quote, "I was sad and angry." And he was just speechless. Zulimar tells about the moment they received the letter. It took owners, both Zulimar and Gilberto, hours process the hateful words asking them to leave the town because I didn't think anyone could feel that way. They say that the worst part of the message is the way it was signed. And then I saw the white superior in that I was livid. Despite the emotions the couple is experiencing, they want the person responsible to know one thing. We're here to stay. We're not going to do this to anybody else. And if you're not going to do this to anybody else. And if you thought we were going to stay quiet, we're not. Zulumar posted on Facebook, Western Mass News, if you thought our story wasn't worthy, think again. Jill's Auto is here to stay. You don't have to like us, but you will respect us. Senator thoughts.
Yeah, good on them, Doc, to stay there and stand up, not just for themselves, but for future people. This is not new. I mean, the stuff that they're saying is definitely not new, Doc. This kind of behavior is as old as time, the pseudoscience, all of the stuff that was in that letter. And I hope that the person who wrote the letter is caught. Really.
Yep,
they need to be exposed.
Yeah. And if it's a group, so be it. Okay, we'll bring updates if there's an update to bring. All right. So let's say you're a prize fighter. You box for a living. But you have this thing. You're really concerned about the way your hair looks in the boxing ring. A guy's man toupee comes off his head. Put it up for a minute, Florida. You can't even explain this. There it is. That's a lot of distraction. He's a good sport about it. So according to ESPN, heavyweight contender Jarrell Big Baby Miller delivered a viral moment during his split decision win over Kingsley at New York's Madison Square Garden. Miller had promised a knockout during Saturday's undercard bout, but delivered a different kind of highlight in round 2. When Kingsley hit him with a right uppercut, and at first it looked like his real hair came off his head. I'm sorry, guys. I've seen the clip. But you realize he's okay. It's just a male hairpiece. Okay, that's all. He's okay. Fans were stunned as Miller's toupee lifted off of his head, and rather than shy away from the moment, Miller embraced it, tearing off the toupee before starting round 3, and he threw it into the stands where WBO heavyweight champion Fabio Wardley collected it. Miller spoke about the incident on the Breakfast Club. Here it is.
Yo, my man said he put the tape, plus he hit me with the roller, like shh. Like he thought he was painting the wall. Like he put the glue and the tape on it. He said it's gonna be double reinforcement. I thought we was gonna be all right, but man, my boy Beezer was knocking me upside the head, boy.
So don't give me no jabs and nothing.
You got the George Jefferson. Do you fight your barber now? Whoever glued that on, do you go
it's
give
so
him 5
funny,
minutes?
like he's never given me a cut before. He usually gives my cousin a cut. So I'm gonna call my cousin, yo, bro, I ain't ready to go bald yet. He's like, yo, my man got the piece. My man got the piece.
What's his name? I think he was in my comments. He left me a comment. He was like, I didn't do that.
Yo, my cousin, he can park in the car, so he gonna probably come up and tell you. But I was like, yo, for real? He get the units? He's like, yeah, it's good. I'm like, slap one over real quick. So I walked up and I was mad happy. I was like, yo, slap it over. I was like, yo, this kind of fire.
No, it did. How much he charge you for that? How much he charge you for that, Big Baby?
Man, like $700 last minute.
$700? No, you gotta get $650 back.
Yeah.
Let him keep.
No, Charlemagne. At this point, I think the barber owes him money. All right. He's such a good sport about it that you can laugh with him because he doesn't take himself too seriously as it relates to that. Why? Because he whoop people's ass in the boxing ring. Like that's the part he takes serious. The other stuff is whatever. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
It's just life, Doc. Yeah, he handled that well. It might be time to consider going bald, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah. All right, Senator, always great to have you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you. Check out your great work.
Well, always great to be on the program with you, Doc. We covered a lot of serious stuff, so it's good to have a light moment toward the end. At Nina Turner on Twitter, Nina Turner Ohio on the gram. I'm on Blue Sky, Red Sky, Black Sky. Doc, I can't keep up with this. I don't even try. Facebook, all the things. And make sure you follow We Are Somebody, because all of us are somebody. We're still working hard across the country to help lift and change material conditions for working class people in this country.
Thank you for your continued leadership. All right. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.